Yeah. So for us, what we've seen on the multi-res side, at least in specifically in our markets here, the rental growth has kind of come off a cliff. We had good rental growth for a while. It's come down and it's stalled out. In our market, we are starting to see trades again, but the last 3, 4 years, there's been a lot of individuals staying on the sidelines. They don't, where they want to sell their pricing, what they could have got 5, 6 years ago is not what they could get today.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson. And today I'm joined by Jesse Fragale, who's been making some serious moves in real estate investing now for the last 16 years. Jesse, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited for our call today. You've been based out of Toronto, but you're mixing it into some American markets out there in the commercial multifamily area. So I'm pumped for just getting your understanding of, I like hearing about two different markets and what you're going through, what led through your story here. So I'm excited to dig in. Those of us that are, or those that are listening that aren't familiar with you yet, man, tell us a little more about yourself and what your main focus is right now.
Yeah, sure. So, it's basically based in Toronto. I've been in real estate investor now for, it looks like it's 16, 17 years now. And I've been in real estate brokerage for 11. So in investing, started in student res, got into real estate through the investing side, and then eventually found my way into brokerage. So on the investing front, it's predominantly multifamily real estate that we look at for acquisitions. And then on the commercial side, what we do, my partner and I primarily, is office leasing and acquisitions. So sales, dispositions, as well as leasing. And that is almost exclusively done in Canada, and more specifically in Toronto.
Okay. And it's interesting when I hear the investor to broker route. I hear a lot of times broker to investor side, but when I get that flip, tell me about that. What led to wanting to make the quote unquote career real estate? We get you own a business, but there's that little subtle difference of you want your career in it too.
Yeah. Yeah. For myself, it was, while I was in university, I started investing in student housing. And when I got out of university, I actually started working for Enbridge oil and gas company. And for a couple years, I was doing that. It was actually my next door neighbor. I remember one time going out, and he happened just to be one of the top guys at an investment banking company in Canada, and he was very close with the real estate division. And he basically said to me, he's like, "What are you doing? You obviously love real estate as an investor. Have you ever thought about brokerage?" And I really didn't at the time. And I thought, living at home right after university, working for kind of in finance for an oil and gas company, I was like, I'm making decent money and I'm living at home. And I didn't realize at the time, how much opportunity there was on the commercial brokerage side. And specifically, what I didn't want to do is have that first year, like most brokerage firms, whether it's Avis and Young, CBRE, you have that 1 year where you basically pour for the whole year because you got a really low base salary. And then the next few years, you basically only eat what you kill. But I decided to kind of bite the bullet, take his recommendation, and yeah, I got into commercial brokerage. And it's funny now, people used to say that the most secure job you're going to have is the one where it's 100% commission, and that has, at least for me, turned out to be true.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Right. There's a benefit to killing or eating what you kill. There's a benefit to you doing those things because you have a lot more control than most people are willing to take on. That's what I first learned my first 1099. Like, it has that, is a little bit scary, yeah, but if you like that feeling, and sky's the limit, right? It's I quote Jack Nicklaus here a lot. He always talked about, I like golf, but he talk about, before majors, I would get so nervous. And then I realized I fell in love with the feeling because only cool things made me feel that way, right? Anytime I felt that way, awesome stuff would happen after. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. I feel that same thing in real estate, quite my version of it, obviously, but like that, the butterflies, the intensity to it, it's not guaranteed, but if you'll show up and get your work done and do well, there's no competition in real estate. That's what who taught it to me said. Like, if you'll just show up, answer your phone, be good at it, sky's the limit.
Yeah, there's a really good book I'm reading right now. I can't remember the author's name, but it's called Ultra Learning. And a lot of it goes into that feeling of just being uncomfortable and really like what's going on in the brain when that's happening, where you have to have that balance of it not being so difficult that you give up on it, but not being so easy that you're going through the motions. And then something happens physiologically where, like that, Jack Nicklaus saying, if I'm getting that feeling, something's working.
Right. No, I love that. And it's true. It's true, man. And it's, I want to know who the author of that book is. I'll have to look that up, because
Yeah, for
those are
sure.
when you can realize that those aren't the reasons not to, real estate gets a lot simpler, right? Those kind of feelings keep a lot of people on the sidelines in this industry, where I haven't met anybody this day that still doesn't get the feeling when they're writing an offer, right? Because like you're saying, there's a quote it reminded me of by Virginia Satir. Most people prefer the certainty of misery than the misery of uncertainty. And if you can deal well with that little unknown factor, man, it's unending what you can pull off. And real estate rewards it because it changes constantly. You got to be learning. Rewards that person that loves to learn and problem solve more than anybody I've met in the industry, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Scott Young, if anybody's interested.
Okay. Perfect, man. So Scott Young, Ultra Learning, that's what it was called. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. All right. So you're mainly focused in Toronto, but now you're dipping down a little bit. You tested a townhome down in Orlando. We were talking about a little bit pre-recording. What's led you down here into the U.S. market to start looking into investments?
I mean, the obvious one from the Canadian perspective is just that aside from maybe one province, we are politically pretty much a blue state across the whole country, which is no disrespect to any Democrats, but it's just it's just easier to transact from a landlord perspective in the States. And that's not necessarily that it is so pro landlord that landlords are doing things that they shouldn't. It's just that we have rent destabilization, rent control, pretty much every province. It's very, very challenging to move tenants out, even if they're the end of their lease. So it's that flexibility is one component. The other piece is we don't have things that you have in the States, like 1031 exchanges, that doesn't exist up here. So anytime that you sell or anytime you want to make a move with an asset, you basically have to realize a tax event. And part of it geographically is weather related. Obviously, we've got pretty intense winters. So in terms of looking at properties where the weather's not as aggressive. So that's part of it. And then the reason I bought the townhouse in Orlando It was more just buying on a small scale, just to see how the process was in terms of being a foreign national, putting more percentage down, how they would kind of look at myself as from a lender's perspective. Um, and then ultimately, you guys are 10 times approximately bigger than us in terms of the actual market itself. So just having the ability to, buying one thing potentially in one state, if you wanted to roll it into another property, you could go fairly easily to another state. So that's kind of what kicked it off. And a big thing being how big the market is down there.
Love that, man. In that process of discovering what it's like for a foreign national to buy here, for someone else that's listening in that might be thinking about that same thing, what were some of the things you found that, oh, this was simpler than I thought, and also, okay, this part was a little more difficult. I didn't expect that.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, I would just say leave yourself enough time to kind of understand how you get accepted for financing. So for instance, one recommendation, I wouldn't do it during 4 years ago when we were going through a lot of craziness in the world. So that was not very fun, especially with interest rates kind of bobbing around as high as they were. But ultimately, the lending's a little bit different. I had to get a letter directly from a CPA, not just pulling credit. We don't. I mean, most Canadians, unless they have properties or they have relationships in the U.S., don't have a credit score. You don't get a social. You get an ITIN number, which is a tax identification number. That doesn't happen unless you do end up acquiring. So those little things of basically lenders saying, "Who are you? We don't know you." You have to come kind of prepared with documentation that shows, your income in Canada, your tax history in Canada, and then have a CPA that's willing to sign off on it and understand what the lenders are requiring. In terms of the actual acquisitions, that was the easy part. Ironically, it was like, here are the properties I'm interested in. Here's what I want to, make an offer on. And then I guess the only challenge with that, depending how you're buying, if you're buying it as an individual, the requirement for a larger down payment on your first could be as high as 35%. So being prepared that, for the first one at least, that there's going to be most likely a fairly large down payment.
Okay. Interesting, man. I love hearing the differences because there is. It's not stuff I've had to think about,
Yeah.
and I haven't invested internationally myself, so I haven't gone through that process. And I always find that it's more of the idea of something that scares us than the actual process. So I want folks to hear what you have to go through, what that real thing is, because if it's something you want to do, it's on the other side of hard no matter what. But getting folks to shine that light on, okay, pay attention here, like the CPA part, how hard was it for you to find them?
That part wasn't too hard. I spoke with a number of people. The lenders that I had were great about recommending different individuals.
Gotcha.
That's one thing I would say too, is like part of the reason I did kind of this test case of buying something smaller and then eventually hope, like, the idea would be to buy larger apartment buildings, was because if you've been doing real estate long enough, you know that your team doesn't necessarily change too much from if you have a good insurance provider, CPA, if whoever's doing your property management, if it's in the same area. So what I wanted to do was set up those contacts in Orlando, because I would most likely use them for larger purchases, or at least those individual would say, hey, that's kind of out of my wheelhouse, but I can recommend this person. So the hard part to me was just the beginning, setting up and connecting with people. But once you have that, you can almost take that to other investments that you're looking at.
Man, that if you're listening or watching it, he literally just explained the real estate hack on, yeah, I know we all want it to go fast and really do things, but this is a relationship business and relationships just don't go fast. You can't rush them, especially if you're building them intentionally. And I love how you were already thinking long term, because you're absolutely right. And once you get that team established around what you're doing, unless you really leave the area, like really leave it, it's pretty useful, especially lending world. Most can lend all around. Most can do things that you need to do. But the setup of it, that's the part that keeps you awake at night, right? When you're sitting there thinking, okay, who am I actually going to call for this and this and that? And then once you take that time to build the relationships, life gets simpler. My mentor says it this way, if the solution to your problem is in your phone, you don't have a problem, you have a phone call, right? Make the call, just make it, go out there and call them, because that's that whole point. And real estate rewards the people who build really good long-term relationships, because that's how you win at real estate, is long-term thinking.
Yeah, 100% agree.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So what are you looking for then now in that American property? I want to dig in there. Is there a specific thing? So you're saying a 30 to 60 unit, but what else? What's that really does it for you for what you want to buy?
Yeah, so for us, it's going to be properties that are like, I like Florida, as long as it's inland. Looking at properties probably even as low as 20 to 60. And the reason for that size is it's something that we'll likely have to raise capital for, but we don't want it to go so small that you're having, if you have a few vacancies, you really get hammered by them. So having the scale, and kind of looking in the market for value add properties, not necessarily full on value add where there's a lot of construction work or suite turnovers, but ones that are, in terms of vacancy, a little bit lower in vacancy, not fully leased up, where there's some upside in the rents, and then coming in and kind of buying those type of properties. So the idea for us would also most likely would be to create a partnership structure. You guys have certain tax structures that we don't have up here. LLC is not a thing up here. So it would
Gotcha.
be most likely an LP, Canadian LP that invests in a US LP if we have kind of that GPLP structure. But ultimately, it's really about, talking with you before, it's really about the market kind of coming around where we're comfortable at this interest rate with these properties. And, we forecast that the rent growth is going to be something that our investors and the partners themselves are willing to sign on for.
Let's dig into that part for a second. So you've been watching this closely now. I mean, you've been doing this for quite some time. So professional eyes have been on what's happening for the last 5 years, especially. What are you noticing now? What are you sensing in 2026 that folks could benefit from paying attention to?
Yeah. So for us, what we've seen on the multi-res side, at least in specifically in our markets here, the rental growth has kind of come off a cliff. We had good rental growth for a while. It's come down and it's stalled out. In our market, we are starting to see trades again, but the last 3-4 years, there's been a lot of individuals staying on the sidelines. They don't, where they want to sell their pricing, what they could have got 5-6 years ago is not what they could get today. So that price discovery aspect is still a process. And that's really what I mean by kind of waiting out to see how things go here. When we start getting more data points, we get more people that are putting properties on the market, and actually putting them on to where we think the market actually is right now. And even a more visual or obvious version of that is kind of the office leasing side, or excuse me, the office sales side. That's a more extreme version of that. People do not want to unless they have to, do not want to take a cut to where their properties were valued at 3-4 years ago, or even longer.
That gap is one of the harder places to be in real estate, especially when you're coming off of one. Well, we can say this for sure. The one we came off in COVID, that has never happened. We've never had interest rates double in 2 weeks. That is a for sure black swan event that threw things into it. But while it was doing that, it was prices were going in a sane world where sellers just get this picture in their head of this is what this is worth. This is how much it's worth. When that question it only matters right now. Like that is a purely present question. Something's only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it. And the numbers only work at this point. And when you get that big spread, especially when you have that doubling of interest rates, it's taken more time than usual. And I've only done this 14 years of watching things, how they move around. But that particularly created a big gap where people think of what it's worth and then it got hammered by an interest rate, especially in the commercial multifamily world where it's only a math problem. Like there's very little emotion involved. That's huge. Like it was a huge thing. And now hearing that start to come together, because like you said, interest rates now, at least the numbers aren't bouncing around. We're starting to feel some stability wherever they are, right? In the 80s, they were 20%. So like relatively speaking, they're quote unquote cheap, but locally in the now, that's what we think we're sensing here in America too, is people are just getting used to it. And that's a big factor, especially when you come off a really good run. No one wants less rent. No one wants to sell for less. No one wants less. Like that's just the reality, but the market does it. And so now getting to that point where I'm getting excited too, watching things change, watching folks get back involved. Cause I saw folks take a beating for a few years, man. It was pretty ruthless. The old blood in the streets quote was coming out pretty heavy.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. We love that one too. That's a good,
Right.
that's a good quote for a paper.
That's right. That's right. I saw one the other day that was really good. It was on if you're not on real estate Twitter or X, it's real estate X is pretty good. I like what I find on there. But one of the guys said, he goes, buy when they were fearful. He goes, I didn't realize how fearful I was gonna be when I was buying when it was fearful. This part's harder than I thought. And I was like, oh, that's so good. Because we forget that part that we're in the middle of the hard too. Right. So you can hear all the investor cliches, but the reality is you're living it out. Like I used to be at Berkshire as an agent. We called him Uncle Warren. Like Uncle Warren may have seen 50 cycles by now and not care, but us younger folks, it's still jolting when you have to deal with it. But the reality is, again, what got you in keeps you in. Keep that edge. Read stuff like Ultimate Learning, or Ultra Learning. Those are the things that keep us sharp, keep us in the game. Because like I said earlier, this is the best get rich slow scheme that exists. If you can just keep yourself in the game, there's a reason Warren's still in it. He didn't take swings that would take him out, especially in markets that didn't benefit the swing, right? Really be intentional there. So Jesse, man, I really appreciate your time today, your story. I love getting on with folks, learning about markets, seeing what's going on out there. For folks that are listening in that would like to learn more about you, follow along with what you have going on, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, you can, whether it's YouTube, LinkedIn, or Instagram, Jesse Fragale, Fragale, my name, you can jump on in there. And yeah, you pretty much, that's all my socials there. And then Working Capital, the real estate podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, you type in Working Capital and you'll find it.
Love that, man. Thanks for sharing. So if you're listening or watching in, check our show notes. We'll have all of Jesse's links there. Like I say constantly on this show, when we bring professionals on, go see what they're about. Dealing with people who are active in the day-to-day real estate. That's who you want to learn from. It's too much of a changing game to hear we were doing a couple of years ago. That ain't helpful. So take advantage of that. Again, Jesse, thanks for being with us here today, man. Thanks everybody out there being with us. If you got value out of today's episode, please like this episode. Share with someone else you think you get value out of it. And if you're not a subscriber yet, click that button. We appreciate every single one of you that follows along out here with us. We've got more conversation coming up with operators just like Jesse out there building a real business in the industry. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.